What's going on, everybody? I'm Drew Myers, and I'm here to ask you a question. Have you ever just been sitting there on the bus or maybe waiting for a class to start and you're just really bored? You don't know what to do. Maybe you have been through TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, and it's just dry and you're like, I need something to do. Well, look no further. I've got something just for you. There's the iPhone game. It is called Clash Royale. All right, you might have heard it before. You might have heard of its counterpart, Clash of Clans. They're very similar, and you might be like, oh, that's nerdy. I don't want to know about that. But hear me out, all right? It's very fun, and today I'd like to walk you through how to make the best deck. Now, of course, there's more to it than just building your deck. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about how the game is played, how to build your deck, and ultimately how to get some wins, so stay tuned. Have you ever played one of those tower defense games? If so, think of it kind of like that. Except in this game, instead of playing against a computer, you're playing against another real human being. My goal is to take your tower, your goal is to take mine. Whoever does it first wins. It's really that simple, but there are pieces that go into it that can make it a little bit more complicated, and that's what we're going to take a look at. So this is where it's going to get more complicated, alright? But I'm here to help you with it, so don't you worry about it. In your deck, you have 8 cards that you can use in the game. But there's a lot to choose from. There's actually 103 cards in the game currently, and they're adding more every month. So that might seem a little bit overwhelming, but don't worry about it because there are 4 different categories that they can be spread into, and that helps you choose what you want. So those 4 categories are win conditions, spells, tank, and buildings. Put those together in your deck, you'll be sure to win. So let's look at what each of those do. So let's talk about these card categories, okay? The 4 I talked about, win condition, building, spells, tanks. You need all of them in your deck. Let's go one by one, talk about what they each do. Let's start with the win condition. This is by far the most important part of your deck. If you don't have one of these, you probably won't win. Its job is to literally win you the game. That's why it's called the win condition, right? So you put it down, and its job is to take out the enemy tower fast, quick. What they have to do, the enemy, is stop that card. That's what wins you the game, is taking the tower. These win conditions are very important. The second piece that we're going to talk about is spells. Spells can be played anywhere in the arena, and they're typically used to damage enemy troops before they get to your tower, so you can clear the way for your troops. They can also be used for damage on towers, but that's less common, as you may find if you ever play. The third thing is buildings. So like I've said, you've got towers, and those are what they're trying to take. What else you can do is play a building card. This will distract enemy troops, and oftentimes it will spawn cards types, so you place it, it has health of its own, and the enemies will attack it instead of your towers until it's gone, and while they're attacking it, it will spawn other kinds of cards. It's kind of complicated, but I think we got that. And the fourth thing is tanks. Tanks are also a troop of yours that you can play that kind of are mixed between win condition and tower. It's got a lot of health, just like a tower, but it also can attack enemy troops and enemy towers like a win condition. Those are the 4 kinds of cards. Like I said earlier, you get all of those in your deck, you're going to be good. That's how you have a good balanced deck. You get used to it, we're going to win some games. So now we know all the different kinds of cards and their categories. Now you might be thinking, hey, I'll just put the 8 best cards in the game into my deck and be good to go. But no, now you know that we got to have some strategy to it. But there's one more thing that goes along with the cards that we have to know. Yeah, we know there's different kinds of cards, but there's one more piece that we have to keep in mind, and that's Elixir. You might be wondering what that is. I'll tell you. While you're playing, at the bottom of your screen, you've got a bar. It's your Elixir bar. That is like your currency in the game. Every card costs a certain amount of Elixir, and to play it, that spins your Elixir, right? So over time, you collect it. While the game goes on, it's a background kind of thing, and the max you can have is 10. Once you spend your Elixir, it takes it away from your count, and then it starts refilling up again, right? So when you're looking at that, the usually stronger cards will be more Elixir. Say a card that has a lot of health or does a lot of damage, maybe it'll be 7, 8 Elixir. Or you also have cards that are good for distracting cards, like buildings, like I said earlier, and sometimes you'll find those at 4 or 5 Elixir. It all depends. But that's another piece we need to keep in mind when looking at what cards to select. Well, here we are. We've learned the basics. We understand generally how to play the game. We understand what kinds of cards there are in the game, and we know what Elixir is and how it works. Perhaps we want to see a finished product. That works. I'm going to show y'all my current deck. Now keep in mind, this game is always evolving. They're buffing and nerfing cards, making them better, making them worse, changing it up all the time. So it's subject to change, but my deck right here is what I'm using currently. As you'll see, I've got win condition, I've got spells, I've got a tower, I've got tanks. Just like I explained to y'all, you need a little bit of everything to get the win. This one has helped me out a lot. I think it's a good deck. Well, there you have it. With the information I've given you today, you now know the general basics of Clash Royale and how to build a deck to where you can get a nice couple victory royales in the arena. That's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the battlefield.
I wanna help you more.